Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. We are interviewing mayoral candidates who filed their papers, and got another guest today. Mr. Michael Satterwhite is here with us. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. I am great, man. It's it's been a interesting couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yes,
um,
it has.
with the announcement of Mayor McGee announcing he won't be running for re-election, and then now we got so far there's three candidates who filled in the paper. You happen to be one of them. Can you just first can you just tell me what did that catch you off surprise when Mayor McGee made that announcement?
It caught me off complete surprise. So we serve on the school committee together. The mayor is the chairperson for the school committee. So I've worked with him over the past 4 years, and he continued to and he continues to work like he's mayor. It's I'm impressed by that, and I had no clue.
Mm-hmm. Uh, what made you decide that you were gonna file your papers in and take a crack at this opportunity?
So I got a call from someone after the announcement that Mayor McGee was not running for reelection, and I was caught by surprise. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And
Mhm.
so I got home, and my wife was standing at the door smiling, and I'm like, "What are you happy for?" She's like, "We should run for mayor." And I was like, I don't have to do any convincing or anything. I got home, and we were just talking about the city and how important it's been for me and for her.
Mhm.
I'll talk a little bit with my wife. So my wife is the granddaughter of Ed Battle, who he was the bodyguard for Martin Luther King Jr. Back in the 60s, and he was the Lynn chapter president for the NAACP.
Okay.
And when he went down there to Mississippi, he was the bodyguard for Martin Luther King Jr. And he was shot at. There was crazy things happening down there where he was trying to make a change. And my sister-in-law said something to me that stuck. It was pretty much her grandfather fought so that one day we would be in this position
Mhm.
to possibly have our first black mayor of Lynn. A city that Ed and Amelia cared so much about. And I talked to my dad and my stepmom and my brothers and sisters, and um, they all got on board pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Just the battles, the Beals, the Marstons, the Satterwhites, the Hernandos, the Kennedys. They all um, have a strong commitment and a strong tie to the community, and
Mhm.
it just comes natural. So, you know, I- why can't I be the voice for the people?
Mhm.
That seems to be the one thing that's been missing in our government, and yeah, that's why I'm running.
Was this something that you ever saw yourself doing at any point, or this soon, or did you
Uh,
see yourself doing it sometime down the line? Or
when I was younger, I was 11 years old. I started volunteering for Volunteers of America, and one of the events that I used to do was an I Remember Mama luncheon, and
Mhm.
it was hosted by Susan Warnick, a reporter, and uh, um, uh, the mayor of Boston,
Menino?
Menino. Yes, Tom Menino. And I remember meeting him, and he just had this big personality, and it was great. The
Mhm.
way people interacted with him, the way that he interacted with people, it was contagious. And I thought that was cool. But when him and I spoke, it was more so about the legal field and being an attorney.
Mhm.
So it was encouraging for him to say, oh, make sure you do something with your life. He actually reached out to the mayor in Lynn, and the mayor in Lynn reached out to the superintendent, who reached out to my principal at the time when I was in middle school. And that's actually how I got the Citizenship Community Service Award
Mhm.
back when I went to Pickering, because they saw the work that I was doing for the community. And yeah, it's been natural. It's been something that I'm passionate about. The community is very important to me.
Mhm. And with your work as part of the Lynn School Committee, being a member of the Lynn School Committee member, and also being an attorney, going dealing with the court stuff, all just all the stuff that you deal with on a daily basis, do you feel like that is doing that kind of will prepare you to, if it happens to, to do the job that a mayor is expected to do?
Yeah, so I'm the only business owner that's running so far. And so I know what it's like to make payroll. I know what it's like to make a budget. I know benefits and all those things because that's part of my job. But as an attorney, um, I help businesses that are new, and I help businesses that are have been in business for a long time that need to recover from some sort of mishap in the management within the company. And I'm there to consult. I'm there to advise. I'm there to make sure that what they're doing is within the proper legal guidelines. So I have the background, the education, and experience to really get in there and to make the changes that need to be done in our city. That we need to have a balanced budget. We need to make sure that the services we're offering are our community are top notch and because that, in all honesty, there is a disconnect between the community and the government. And what the government has to realize is that we wouldn't be here if it's not for the community. It's the property taxes, it's the sales taxes.
Hmm.
It's so important to have that connection.
Hmm.
But I do have the experience, and it's vital to have someone in there that understands just basic economics and what it means to generate funds. We have to generate revenues. We
Hmm.
need to diversify our tax base. We're heavily reliant on personal real estate property taxes, and that's a heavy burden on a lot of people, including seniors that can't afford to live in their house because the taxes are going up.
Yeah. So there's lots been happening in the city of Lynn. A lot of work has been being done in the city of Lynn for the, just, making sure people are happy. That's one thing. So, um, so that that role of mayor is just, it's a lot, but we'll get into more details as months and stuff progresses, and as we get more campaigns and stuff. uh as far in this pandemic too is kind of been is it's taking its toll on the city. Now campaign season's about to, once the deadline passes, then campaign season kind of already started, but when you start getting into the thick of things, how differently are you going to strategize the campaign, or the candidates are going to strategize their campaigns, because there won't be as many opportunities to meet in person with people because of what's happening right now in the world, also in our community. How you're going to be able just to make sure people know that you're running, number one, and just to know the important things about the upcoming elections.
Well, first I want to just send my condolences to the 203 lives that have been lost for Lynn residents due to COVID. Yeah, COVID is it took a toll on the city. I lost my mom in August, and I was lucky because she stayed in our home, so I was able to be there with her. The family was able to be there with her, but that's not the case for a lot of families that weren't able to go into the hospital to be with their sick family. So um, first, I want to address that, and obviously our campaign is going to be run safely, and that's it's going to be a challenge. I'm a talker. I love walking. So when you add those two together, I'm walking up and down, the city and meeting and talking to people, and it's something that I like. I'm fortunate enough that I ended up buying the old Dock restaurant, the old Haywood restaurant on Linfield Street. And we have a back area on Sluice Pond that I'm hoping to meet voters in smaller groups to hear and discuss the future of Lynn, because it's important to have that interaction in a safe space, an outdoor space where there's enough space between the parties,
Mhm.
that we're practicing the CDC guidelines, and we're doing so in a way that I can still hear voices. I'm going to do town halls that are going to be through Zoom, so people are able to interact. And um, my website will be updated, and it's going to be more of a user-friendly thing.
Mhm.
With the LCTV, you had to drastically change the way you do business, just like everyone else in the city,
Yeah.
in our schools. It's crazy. It kind of forced a lot of us to get on technology
Hmm.
and to be more proficient. And I think that with that, in our diverse population, it's going to put Lynn on the map. It really is, because people are working from home. We have bilingual people that can work for companies throughout the country, and they can have a hub where they can meet with them when they need to, or have like a centralized HR department, in the city. There's so many ideas that I have that we can utilize the strengths that we currently have obviously to bring a brighter future to the city.
Yeah, and this is not a it's not a easy it's not going to be an easy job for whoever wins this race. But there's something that you know you can't please everybody. You can't please everybody. Knowing, as I spoke with Jared last week, him being on the school committee as well. You guys have dealt with people. You deal with parents. You deal with residents because they're not happy. It's just part of the job. People aren't gonna be happy no matter what you do. Good, even if you do good things, people are just not gonna be happy. Do you feel like you know be you in your profession and also being in the school committee? That's one thing that you're able to deal with is not you can't please everybody, but you could hear everybody. You could hear what people have to say, but can't please them all, but you could always give them your ear.
So I volunteer as a conciliator, which is like a mediator within Lynn District Court. I do it in the Family and Probate Court, and I also do it in I do the lawyer for the day for the housing court. So I'm involved in disputes and situations that aren't ideal, and it's my job, to have middle ground and to see to help people see the position of the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I've been doing for the past 7 years. If you ask any of the clerks in the courthouse in Lynn, they'll tell you that I'm pretty good at it. So it's something that I pride myself in. I use my ears more than my mouth, and
Mm-hmm.
that's extremely important. And that's a characteristic our mayor should have, where we listen to the community, we listen to their voice, and we actually put value on it. And that's extremely important. So I have that experience. I know I, I'm the only parent with a child in Lynn Public Schools on the current school committee. So I look at it first as a parent whenever we're having these discussions, and
Mm-hmm.
I look to see how it's going to impact my family and my child, and that's why sometimes you get a different point of view from me, and sometimes I try to bring along my colleagues, and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been really blessed to be on the school committee, because I've already had relationships with most of the people on the school committee.
Yeah.
Donna Capola, Brian Castellanos, John Ford. I've known them for several years from working on boards or
Mm-hmm.
just living in the same neighborhood. My brother and so my niece and nephew were born teen parents. My brother and his girlfriend at the time, and they went through the program that Donna Capola ran.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're 20 years ago, and
Okay.
now my niece and nephew, one's at Boston College, and one is at Morehouse, and it's just great that they were able to break that cycle because of someone that stood up in the community and wanted to do a teen parenting program. And
Definitely.
so yeah, so
Yeah.
building relationships is extremely important. Listening to people and getting results. That's the most important thing that a mayor can do.
Definitely. And before we let you go, I just want to let everybody know that we will be interviewing more mayoral candidates as more file their papers in. Deadline to file the papers is June 28th. So the more that file their papers in, the more we'll have an interview with them on here. And before we get out of here, just please let them know where they could contact you, where they could find you, website, social media page, email, all that good stuff.
Perfect. So my cell phone is 617-257-1295. My email is masforlynn@gmail.com. The website is masforlynn, FORLYNN, forlynn.com. I'm accessible. I'm available. So if you have any questions or want to talk about any issues that you might have, I'm available to listen to you. I appreciate it.
All right, awesome. Thank you once again for coming on. You guys have been watching the Lynn Lowdown. Have a great day.